Greetings, friends and followers. This is Nurses Talking. I am Dale Barzy. And as always, if you like what you see and hear, subscribe. Leave us a comment. We would love to know what you think. Here on Nurses Talking, we speak to nurses anywhere in the world and at any stage in their nursing journey. We speak to people from students to retirees and anywhere in between. And so today it's my great pleasure to welcome Dr. Sabrina Dean. And Dr. Sabrina is the CEO of Dr. Sabrina's Healthcare Consulting LLC for healthcare organizations, the founder of Sabrina's Consulting, where she helps individuals fulfill their holistic and health desires, and the co-founder of the African American Women Giving Circle in Dayton, Ohio. Dr. Sabrina is the former director of quality, infection control, regulatory and accreditation, telehealth, risk management for several healthcare organizations, and she is an adjunct professor at Franklin University, Columbus, Ohio, for their doctoral program. Dr. Sabrina is an experienced registered nurse with a demonstrated history of working in the healthcare industry. She has a Bachelor of Science in Nursing from Wright State University and a Doctor of Business Administration focused on healthcare from North Central University. Dr. Sabrina has spent the last 15 years as a healthcare executive for several short-term and long-term acute care hospitals. In her new healthcare consulting program, she assists healthcare organizations achieve 90th percentile with their Centers for Medicare and Medicare Services value-based purchasing quality measures. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. I really do enjoy talking to nurses everywhere. So thank you for doing this. Usually my first question is why people are nurses. Why are you?
Okay, I have been a nurse for 27 years, and what brought me to nursing is actually helping other people. I have done that as a youngster. I was raised by my father because my mother died when I was 3 years old. And so at an early age, I had to help around the house. And so that just carried on throughout my life as far as helping other people achieve their best.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's a thing I've noticed as I speak to a lot of nurses. Somewhere along the way, it's a helping thing. They've learned that along the way, and it transitions into becoming a nurse. So, what challenges were there for you, though? Because nursing comes with challenges.
Yes, there has been some challenges along the way as far as, excuse me, being able to advance throughout my career and having experience. So being able to do more, than at the bedside, that
Mm-hmm,
I would say has been my biggest challenge throughout nursing.
mm-hmm.
But as far as like any supplies or anything like that, in all the organizations I've worked at, I've never had any issues with that as far as supplies. But the main thing has been more of climbing in the nursing in a
Yeah,
hospital setting.
yeah. That can take some navigating.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it can.
So you've spent quite a bit of time working within institutions in different roles, at bedside, risk management, quality assurance, employee health, that kind of thing. What, if anything, do you think you'd like to see change as far as nursing within this institutions go?
The one thing that I would like to see change in nursing is a robust program where we can help prevent patients with infections, because I've seen that across several organizations. So where patients come into the hospital, don't have an infection, and then they, for some reason, get an infection along the way. So that means that our process was broken along the way somewhere, for the patient to get that infection. I would like to see that improved in all organizations. And then also, because the national exam that we take as nurses is national for the United States. So as far as us practicing in different states, I also would like to see a national license. I know there's compact licenses, but
Yeah.
maybe a national license since we all
Yeah.
take the same exam.
We're all, exactly. We're all taking the same exam. We all have to meet the same standards. So why can't we have just one license? Um, and absolutely that's the thing. Especially now as people move around so frequently and so easily, I mean, why make it difficult for people to work where they move?
Yes,
I
yes,
absolutely see that. I absolutely see that, and I agree. One of the
yes.
things that comes up though, when I speak with nurses about what they would like to see change, many times they're talking about things like uh, politics, about interaction between nurses. There seems to be a generation gap between older and younger nurses. We've gotten used to and just accept the notion that nurses eat their young. And I'm thinking, why does any of this have to be? Why does any of this have to be? Why can't we, how can we, not why, because it's happening, but how can we change this perception of us? How can we change? It's not just a perception, it's happening. So,
Yes,
um,
yes. I believe that what should happen is new nurses should be fostered from the beginning because you become a nurse, you do your orientation for X number of weeks, and then after that you're kind of on your own, right? So
mhm,
I think that maybe for that first year, and then maybe even 2 years, depending on how the nurses um, grow, that they should be paired with a mentor. They should be paired with a mentor. So if any of those things occur from some of the older nurses, then they have a mentor that they can speak to. They have someone that they can discuss it with, or there should be a formal process with these nurses that are doing this because it's terrible because we need nurses. There's a nurses shortage. So for someone to go into nursing and because an older nurse or more seasoned nurse has quote unquote eaten her or him alive, then that's just terrible because that could cause that person to change their career in
yeah.
nursing.
Yeah, it can. And in addition to which, I don't see how it's possible for either to effectively take care of someone else.
Yes.
You're not effectively taking care of your patients if you're busy, having adversarial relationships with one another. To me, it's just not possible.
Yes, it is non-productive. I agree 100%.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That's one of the reasons I asked that question because I think that we need to talk about this and we need to we know about it within our little circles and stuff like that, but we need to see that this is happening all over and that we need to change it. We need to change it.
Yes,
And
I agree 100%.
yeah, yeah. Um, so what led you into entrepreneurship?
What led me into entrepreneurship is to be able to spread my systematic system that I've been using for close to 20 years, the M.A.R.P method,
Okay.
and being able to share that across the nation. So with all hospitals, even internationally, it can spread and out even outside of healthcare because the M.A.R.P method is designed to get to the core issue of a problem. In any business, it's going to have problems. So
Mhm.
getting to the core issue and building effective action plans to correct the core issue because
Yeah,
a lot of times a lot of organizations including healthcare we put band-aids on it so
exactly.
and it doesn't stick, it doesn't work because it hasn't effectively been worked or problem solved to get to the core and then build from there.
Yes, 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 yes. And as far as healthcare goes, I mean, you mentioned that it happens in healthcare. And as far as healthcare goes, in many instances, not just even organizationally, but in dealing with patients, that's what we do, is put a Band-Aid on it. And,
Yes.
ignore the root cause of what exactly is going on. So yeah, really need to pay attention to that. Really need to pay attention to that.
Yes, and by putting a Band-Aid on a patient's issue, that could lead to, again, an infection or,
Mhm.
something else being missed or skipped
Yeah,
because, quote unquote, a Band-Aid was put on the core issue.
yeah. Exactly. And so we need to be able to we need to get in the habit of going deeper into something.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. And so you wrote the book.
Yes, I wrote the book, The M.A.R.P Method.
Well, and so we'll put, while we're talking about the book, let's just say where it's available. And I'll put that in the description box.
Okay. The M.A.R.P Method is available on my website at www.drsabrinashealthcareconsulting.com, or also it can be purchased on Amazon.com, and also there's a Kindle version
Yeah. All
on
right. So,
Amazon.
so, and anything that encourages us to get deeper into the problem and fix the root cause, I'm all for. So let's go for it, guys.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. What
And
would you say
also
is your
I am and
Mhm.
also I am recruiting for trainings for organizations for the M.A.R.P method. And for every participant, it includes a copy of the book for them.
Okay. Okay. So we will make sure to highlight that.
Thank you.
What would you say is your greatest achievement so far? So far.
My greatest achievement so far has been completing my doctorate degree. That was quite a challenge. But
Yeah.
I was working full time,
Okay.
and I, it was a lot of research, it was a lot of writing, but I persevered, and I was dedicated, determined, and disciplined to make it to the finish mark. So I completed that in 2019 and finished my dissertation, and that is published in Michigan with all the other dissertations. And I actually received a royalty check for my dissertation. So the next thing I would like to do with my dissertation is actually get it published in a journal.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. That's great.
Thank you.
That's great. For nurses, well, we talked about a little bit about bullying and stuff like that. Um, one of the things that comes up when I speak to nurses is a lot of talk about burnout, and we have seen it. We have seen it. It's one of the reasons we have the shortage. It's not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons we have the shortage. And the reasons people give me for all of this burnout have to do with external things, have to do with shortage of staff, have to do with, lack of pay, have to do with politics, and not to discredit all of that, because those things are true and very valid. But I also believe that one of the bigger things that we're ignoring is that we don't take care of us. We don't take care of ourselves. And it doesn't matter, for me, it doesn't matter what else was right. If we were not taking care of ourselves, then it was inevitable that you would get to burnout. So what does self-care mean to you?
Yes, I agree 100%. And I say that as far as self care is a big, big, big determinant with burnout, is
Yeah.
because I was on the front line in New York during the
Okay.
pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So in New York City, I worked 52 12-hour shifts straight, no day
Whoa.
off. Okay.
Oh,
52 12. So I've never done that before in my life throughout my career. The one thing I can tell you, it was kind of more of a robotic mode. So I went to
yeah.
work, I ate my dinner, I showered, I spoke with my husband, I went to sleep, repeat. Basically, that was the routine. I did that some of the younger nurses or other nurses, they were in the lobby. They were in the lobby. They stayed up all night or, did other things or etc. So that's where I agree with the self-care because realistically, you cannot burn the candle on both ends. Something is going to give somewhere, right? So with working hours like that, you have to take care of yourself and you have to get your rest because rest is essential for your body to rebuild, for to continue to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I agree 100%. Now, some of the external things may have something to do with it, but the bottom line is you taking care of yourself, self-care.
Mm-hmm.
So there are several things that I do for self-care. I treat myself to getting my nails done, manicured, and also a pedicure monthly. I get massages. I like to read. I like to listen to music. And me and my husband, we always plan an annual vacation to just get away where we can totally disconnect from everything. And this year we actually went to the Maldives. So that was
Okay.
yes. So that was a bucket list vacation that I have had for years, probably close to 15 years, and I was finally able to check it off. Um,
Okay. I
so,
hope you had a great time.
oh my gosh, we did. We did. It was beautiful. We were there for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. 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 Yeah. But yeah, I ask this question to every single nurse that I talk to, whether even on here or, in face-to-face conversation, because for me, I think it is so important. And I think that basically, so what contributes to us not taking care of ourselves? Number one, we're women. We
Yes.
think that everybody else comes before us. In addition to being women, it's still a female-driven profession. So
Mhm.
we're women, we're nurses. It's ingrained in our education, not even intrinsically, but ingrained in our education that everything else and everyone else comes before us. And I really want us to kind of reverse that thinking. Because yeah, our patients are important, and yes, our colleagues are important, but we are top of that heap, each of us.
Yes. And if you take that a little bit further to the airline industry, when you are flying on an air flight, the airline stewardess instructs you to put your oxygen on first, not your children, not
Yeah,
your husband, but
yeah,
you. So
yeah,
put yours on first and then help
exactly.
your family with
Yeah,
theirs.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And and that's a very instructive thing. That's a very good thing. We need to really think about that because what it says, a little more than just putting it on first, what it actually says is that if you don't, you won't be there to put it on them.
Exactly.
You won't be there to put it on them.
That is correct.
And that's the truth. That's the truth.
Yes, it
So,
is.
what advice would you give to someone who wants to be a nurse, though?
What advice I would give to someone that wants to be a nurse is do it. Just do it. It is a rewarding career. It is something that you would never, I don't think, you would never get bored with because there's so many different avenues to nursing. In addition to bedside nursing, there's administrative nursing. There's, if you want to be a corrections officer nurse, if you want to be a cruise ship nurse, work in a doctor's office, and the list goes on and on and on. So there are so many different avenues as far as nursing that you can spread into.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you can create your own niche.
Yes, yes.
Create your own niche. I mean, there is no better time. There has never been a better time, in fact, as far as I'm concerned, to become a nurse than like right now. Because there's just so much. And one of the things that I want to show with this is that nurses are everywhere. I want people to see that nurses are everywhere. I want them to get rid of this vision of the nurse. When you say you're a nurse, the next question is what hospital do you work in? And
Yeah.
if you say, I don't work in a hospital, I work from home, how can you be a nurse and work from home? Well, because I
Yeah.
can, you know.
Exactly, exactly. Throughout my career, I've even worked for an insurance company.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Mhm.
during case
Yeah.
management. So there's so many options
Yeah.
uh, as far as being a nurse, and it's not just as at the bedside. Or another question that is always asked is, if you're asked a question and then you say, well, I don't know, and it's like, well, why don't you know? You're a nurse. Well, because I'm a cruise ship nurse, or
Because
I
it's
work
huge.
administration, et cetera. I don't work with patients day in and day out. So, but everyone has that in their mind that when
Mhm.
you're a nurse, you work at the bedside, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
totally
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah. It's totally incorrect. And it's totally nor do I think people understand. I don't think people have any clue at all, really, who nurses are. They have no clue when you walk into a patient's room, they see that you brought a pill, but they have no idea what else you brought. They have no idea about the education or the experience or all of that stuff that you brought, or how much research you actually did about that pill before you brought it to them.
Exactly. That is so true, because we're watching for those side effects, correct?
Exactly, 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 exactly. I want people to be able to see that. I really want to expand their vision of what nursing is and what nurses do. And when you see a nurse, when a nurse comes to you, that is more than, she's not just following an order.
Yeah.
Ah, dear, we'll get there. We'll get there one day. We'll get there one day. So
Yes, I believe it. I believe we will.
yeah, we will, we will. And I am particularly encouraged because the possibility exists. There are more and more nurses seeking further education and seeking education in other branches, not just vertical, but they're doing a lateral thing as well, a horizontal thing, so that the education spreads. Like, for example, your doctorate is in business administration, and so you have this as well as nursing going on. And I see a lot of nurses doing that kind of thing. They're going up and across and out, and has to lead to some sense of self-recognition and some sense of I use the word power just because I can't find another one, but a sense of power and a sense of achievement and a sense of I'm somebody to be reckoned with. And so
Yes.
with that, I think things will change.
Yes,
We
I
will
agree.
force change.
Mhm. Yes, I agree 100%. I believe that nursing will change over the years. I believe that with the shortage, I think that we need to start younger. We need to get into the elementary schools and,
Mhm, mhm,
develop a
mhm,
program.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
There's a program that I've been part of for over 20 years now, Big Brothers Big Sisters, a mentor
Uh-huh.
for that. I still have a little sister now. So, in my mind, it's like big nurses, little nurses, right? So it's like leading them from the elementary all the way up and following them through.
Yeah.
Um, but just starting there and mentoring them.
Yeah, 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 and uh, we can even before that, we
Mhm.
can actually influence the. For example, we can have nurse dolls that
Mhm.
specialize in the legal nurse doll or the whatever doll that kind of impact or target little kids that they say, oh, I like this doll. I like, and we can even start there. Who knows?
Yes, yes, yes. Because it all starts, as we know, with kids and their toys that they have. So
Exactly.
why not
Exactly. Why
have
not?
a nurse doll? That's
Yeah.
correct. I agree 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. Why not? Why not? So as I have a question that I've been asking recently because I realized that I can recognize another nurse without ever being told that this person is a nurse. There are times when I can look at something, that person is a nurse. And so I began to wonder, what exactly did I see in that person, or what do we see in each other that makes me know without being told that that person's a nurse? So the question I've been asking is, if you had to describe the most essential quality of a nurse in just one word, what would that word be?
My to describe a nurse, it would be uh, attention to detail. Well, that's 3 words, but
That's okay.
that's
The
that's
detail, yeah, attention to
detail
detail.
oriented. And what
Detail.
I mean by that is, if someone, if they're washing their hands, they're washing their hands the full, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, or
Yeah,
they're using sanitizer a lot. There's just different things that you pick up
yeah,
on a nurse, and you say, are you a nurse? Are you a nursing assistant or some in the medical field somewhere?
yeah,
Because of that is so ingrained in us to do those
yes,
things, especially
yes,
when we're in work and outside of work.
yeah.
So
Yeah, 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 yeah. Or you can watch us walk into an unfamiliar room, and if you talk to her 3 minutes later, you can understand that she just assessed the whole room in the blink of an eye. Okay.
yes, yes, yes. Or may start asking questions, are you okay? Or if someone is sitting there having a hard time breathing or whatever,
Yeah,
it's just
yeah,
like we go into that assessment mode, right?
yeah, yeah.
So
It just comes on like a second skin. It
yes, I
comes on like a
agree.
second. Yeah, and I really like that. Honestly, I have to say, I really like that about nurses. Just because it it develops more than that in us, you know. Someone said to me the other day when I asked the question, and she said bossy. I said bossy. And she said, well, I don't know if boss is the word, but nurses just walk in and they take over. If something is going on, they just automatically take over and fix it, do this, do that, do that. And everything just put everything in place and position. And that's what we
Yes.
do.
Yes, yes, we do. And I think it comes from, again, most nurses start at the bedside. So at the bedside, you have patients. You don't have just one patient. A lot of times you have two
Exactly.
patients if you're in ICU,
Yeah.
or, 3, 4, 5, 6 patients. So you are the nurse for all of those patients. So prioritizing all of those patients and making
Yeah.
sure that a beat is not missed. So
Yeah.
making sure they're getting their medications, they're getting their wound care, whatever it is. So with that, you have to have, some more of a direct personality. And it's
Yeah.
it's interesting. Some of my friends over the years that are nurses, they truly say they're introverts. And it's like, okay, but when you're working as a nurse, that's truly an
Yeah.
extrovert,
Yeah.
because you're
Exactly.
talking to patients, you're talking to family, you're talking to the healthcare team, and you're not, in your corner, quote unquote,
Yeah.
being quiet.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
probably what people see, because we have to get things done and make
Yeah.
sure that nothing is missed.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, 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 yeah. And that's it. And making sure that nothing is missed, because it's those little things that will really trip you up,
yeah,
that you don't want to miss. It's those little
yeah,
things that will really trip you up.
yes. And as I always say, as a nurse, we're in healthcare, we're dealing with lives. So it's not, something that, oh, if someone, dies, that we can bring them back. You know what I mean? But,
Yeah,
we want to make sure that they do not get to death, you know?
yeah,
So,
yeah, 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 yeah. Exactly. We are dealing with lives. With and more than just the patients that we're actually dealing with. We're dealing with the patients, that we're dealing with the patient's family's life, because sometimes what happens with the patient is going to change the whole family dynamic.
yes,
And if what you did was, or didn't do, was what caused the change in this whole family dynamic, do you know what that means? you know
exactly.
So really,
that is very, very crucial.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it requires a lot of us. It requires a lot. I've been quoting this poem that I've read, and I keep saying that I'm going to look for the author, and I keep not remembering to. But the poem is called 30 Seconds on a Hallway. And I read it, I don't remember how long ago, but it made such an impact on me because it was so true. And what the poet was talking about was the fact that it's a nurse. It's talking about the fact that you go from one room to another and you probably just cross a hallway, which would probably take you 30 seconds. But the situations in those two rooms are so very different that when you leave this one, you have to pretty much change who you are in those 30 seconds, prepare for the next room, in which maybe a totally different. You may have left a death in this room and gone to something where somebody just found that great news. You can't bring that to this. And you only have 30 seconds on the hallway. That's a lot. That's a lot to assimilate and to change and to deal with in that time, and still be effective and still be what's the word? Detail oriented. you know.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
I agree 100%. And then addition to that, all of the stuff as a nurse that you hear over the years from your patients.
Yeah.
And those things,
Yeah.
you take them to your grave basically,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you can't share that information with anyone because of our oath
Exactly.
we're under.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I not for nothing, but I admire nurses.
Yeah, as I've heard, we've been voted the #1 trusted health person of the healthcare team. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think that's because we do it. We do a lot. It's kind of like I'm your nurse, but then I can help you with PT, OT, and different things. So we do it all. So.
But his job description is yours. Dr. Sabrina, thank you so very much for this conversation. I really appreciate it. It's been great.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for having me to be part of the podcast. I'm happy to be able to share with you and others. And if there's anything I can do to help anyone, just talk through some nursing or just anything, any core issues, feel free to reach out to me. Again, my website is www.drSabrina'sHealthcareConsulting.com, and my email address is Sabrina@drSabrina'sHealthcareConsulting.com.
And just for those who are looking, it will be in the description box. So if you don't forget it, it'll be there. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.